A sure sign of spring is the return of Minnesota United soccer. And earlier this week, I spoke with Callum Williams, the team's play-by-play announcer, to talk about the new faces you'll see on the pitch and the return of fans to the stands at Allianz Field.
It's one of the main attractions for people to come to a Minnesota United game is to see the fans in action and see the atmosphere. I said earlier on, the Wonder Wall on the one side of Allianz Field, they are some of the best supporters I've ever seen in world football, certainly one of the best set of supporters in Major League Soccer, and they provide one heck of an atmosphere. We're really excited to have them back.
So now the front office has been making a lot of moves over the winter to bring in some really great new players with a lot of promise, including one just kind of superstar local, and I'm going to call him a kid because he's still in college, with a pretty amazing family history in soccer. Let's start with Patrick Waya.
Patrick Ware is a name that many soccer fans around the world will know because of his father, George Ware, who was a phenomenal player, had tremendous success in Europe, in England, in Italy, and down in Africa as well. He was a wonderful player. I think the name Ware means a lot to a lot of people around the world, so to simply have that name associated with Minnesota United is wonderful. But there's an added bonus here, Mike. Patrick Ware can actually play as well. And at the age of 17, it's wonderful to see. He's only going to grow. He's only going to get better.
And then we get to some of the more veteran players that are joining, including somebody with Finnish ties or ties to Finland. Let's talk a little bit about Raitala.
He adds depth to what is already a strong Minnesota United team, but they did need some of these pieces to come in because they lost a lot of depth in the off-season as well. Players run out of contracts, trades are made, you know how it is. So they needed to bring in some bodies. Jukka Raitala comes in with a tremendous amount of international experience, but also success as well, playing for Columbus Crew and more recently the Montreal Impact. Will Trapp has been one of the best number sixes, holding midfielders, central midfielders, whatever you want to call them nowadays, in Major League Soccer for some time. He's got over 25 national team caps, as has Juan Aguidello as well. The one that interests me more than anything here, Mike, is Juan Aguidello, because he comes into this, I think, with a little bit of a point to prove.
Miami, you guys were an expansion club not that long ago, and yet you have really been killing it toward the end of the season, getting into postseason more years than not so far in the MLS. But we've never really been able to convert much more than the first round.
But once they solidified themselves in the league, once they got into the playoffs, understood what it took to get there, and then pushed themselves further on, I think Minnesota United have every reason to think there's no reason they can't repeat what they did last year, maybe even go one better. I'm not suggesting that an MLS Cup is the expectation this year and that a championship is expected, but it is the logistical next step if you think about it. First round of the playoffs in 2019, Western Conference final in 2020, who knows, in 2021.
Well, cheers to who knows, right? MNUFC's first televised match is actually a national match, April 16th from Seattle. Their home opener is April 24th against Real Salt Lake. We'll get you to the entire schedule at WCCO.com/links.